Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for yet another live stream. And today, here we are to talk about South Africa versus India, a major game as both the teams would want to remain unbeaten in the World Cup. And to add to this, let's remember, Virat Kohli is playing this game as it's his birthday today. So things are going to be pretty exciting on a lot of bases. I have Sai joining me. Sai, how do you see this game and what is the context of it from here on?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, because today, as you just said, that we do have King Kohli's birthday, so he will try to make it in terms of a good memory for him. Maybe he'll try to play freely today because the team is already in the good position, right? So they don't have to worry about the qualifications. And to be honest, if India wins today, then it's for sure that we are going to end the league stage at the first position. But yeah, as I said, today he will play very freely because we don't have any kind of pressure today. So yeah, I feel it's going to be a good game today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one factor. Obviously, we have no pressure because we've already qualified into the semi-finals, and even South Africa after that Pakistan Duckworth Lewis win in South Africa have sealed spot. But then let's just talk about that number one position, which every team wants to eye in and finish it off. And it is not like IPL that if you finish one or two, you get that extra chance. But does it really matter at the end of the day that you want to finish number one because whoever makes it to the semifinals are all good teams, because even if it's number four or even if you're facing number one, you know on the same day it's a level playing field. You saw that in 2019 World Cup. We finished number one. We played against the fourth place New Zealand, and rest is history, and you don't want to remember that at this point. So does it really matter? Is it concerning at all?
Yeah, actually, it's not that much concerning, but we all know that all the four teams, the one who will qualify, they do have the caliber to win the cup. It's not like that the number three or number four are not that much capable. They are capable, and that's why they are in the qualifications, right? So I believe the team who is performing better, they should enter the top four. And right now, the New Zealand is not performing better. They are dipping, right? So to be honest, if they fail to win the last game, then to be honest, they don't deserve a position in the qualifications. And Pakistan, yes, if you talk about them, to be honest, they hardly played quality cricket in the whole tournament, except the yesterday game. Because if you look
But do
about
you
their
think yesterday's game is also, the rain really did play a part? Because to be very honest, okay, 224 was great, but having rain right before their innings, where it really settled the pitch down, and during the innings where Duckworth Lewis had played a big part in chasing to 400 odd, that really played into their hands, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, there are other point of views also. Like they lost only a single wicket, right? So far in the whole 25 overs, they lost only one wicket, right? So we never know that they might chase it down, maybe a couple of overs remaining in the game, right? So to be honest, Babar misses the 100, right? Maybe Fakar misses his 200. So that can be also a point of view due to the rain that they misses their own milestone, right? So yeah, the rain will always fortune the brave. Like they already have a kind of statement, Kudrat ka Nizam, right? So this thing will they got yesterday, and yeah,
Yeah.
because they deserve it because they have played better yesterday
Yeah.
as compared to New Zealand. So yeah, they deserve to be in the
Yeah,
top
their
four.
batting at least was better on one facet, and New Zealand balled badly as well. But let's just look at the points table and look at the scenarios before we talk about this game in depth, because a lot of scenarios which is like forming in right now. For India, the things are very simple: win today, seal a first spot most likely, or that's about it. India will finish number one if they win today. But on the other end of things, let's just look at the way in which how things can be for the fourth position, Pakistan. For Pakistan, they have one thing to do, that is hope that Sri Lanka defeats New Zealand. And if New Zealand goes on to defeat Sri Lanka even by our margin of one run, then that margin becomes 131 runs is the difference between two teams. And with every run, which if it is 50 runs and it goes up to 181 runs, I mean that is virtually, it's not like it's impossible, but it's a hard task. Let's be very honest with it. And an underconfident Sri Lankan team who just got 55 all out against a New Zealand team who just score 400, I think you would favor a New Zealand team until and unless the game is a washout. And you're absolutely, we can't discount Afghanistan as well. Afghanistan can play their best cricket in the next two games and get two results there. They seal a spot in the semi-final regardless of the rest of the results. So, Sai, how do you see this? Who are your top four at this point? Is it going to remain like this, or do you see a wild card entry from Pakistan or Afghanistan?
So it's very clear, to be honest, that this top four will remain as it is. Why? Because even though Pakistan win against England, and we know that Sri Lanka cannot beat New Zealand, right? Because Sri Lanka is already at the bottom phase, right? And that's why they don't have that much of confidence, to be honest, because the way they played against South Africa in the chase, that was something next level, right? But after that, we haven't seen anything kind of fantastic cricket they have played so far. So I don't feel that this is going to happen in terms of that Sri Lanka will upset the Kiwis. That's not going to happen. And England for sure, the way they played yesterday, even though they lost it, even though they lost the game very before the end of the result, but still they tried something. They tried the fight, right? So never we never know that England for sure. At least they will win one game, right? For sure, and it can be against Pakistan. So to be honest, this top four will remain as it is. Afghanistan, yes, but we all know they can upset one more team, but to upset the both the teams, it's very difficult task for them.
Absolutely. सर टीम में जो आज का टीम क्या है, आई मीन आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट फैंटेसी टीम के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं
Hmm.
प्लेइंग 11 के बारे में? प्लेइंग 11 अब तक बाहर नहीं आया है, पर फैंटेसी टीम है तो हम बात करेंगे जिन प्लेयर्स को देखना है आज और जिन प्लेयर अच्छा कर सकता है, वैसे कि आज का ग्राउंड ईडन गार्डन्स और क्विंटन डिकॉक भी अच्छे फॉर्म में है, उसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे अभी थोड़ी देर में। तो इसी हिसाब से हम बात करते हैं कि लेट्स स्टार्ट अबाउट टॉकिंग अबाउट द साउथ अफ्रीकन टीम एंड क्विंटन डिकॉक। I mean, his love affair with India has been for quite a long time. 600s against India, 400s in this World Cup alone, and he's playing against his favorite opposition today. How do you see him continuing with that form? Do you see any change in that form, or can India stop Quinton de Kock because he's been outstanding? He's beyond words. You know, this World Cup, he's owned it. You will remember this World Cup as a Quinton de Kock, Rachin Ravindra kind of a World Cup.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Because the way he's playing, it's like the dream World Cup for him. And yeah, because it's the last World Cup he will be the part of, right? So it has to come because he deserves the way he's playing today. And to be honest, I don't want the Cock to bat first because we all know what they can do in the first innings. Even though it's Eden Gardens, even though we have the quality pace attack, everything is there. But I don't want them to bat first because, to be honest, whenever they bat first, they don't look at anything. They simply go all out approach, right?
Yeah.
So even though we have everything kind of equipped, we are well equipped with everything. That we are doing the chase all the time, right? And we are doing the kind of quality pace attack. We have everything, right? But still, the fact says that it's better to bat first so that we can defend afterwards. So even though it's Eden Garden, even though there are multiple factors are there, but still it's better to bat first. And we all know in the chasing phase, they have chased only two times, and in one of them they lost it, right? So we never know that they might lost again if they chase today.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good point because chasing has been a different scenario altogether for South Africa in comparison to batting first. Their approach is very simple: bat a strike a run rate of close to 5-6 in the first 40 overs and go berserk in the last 10. But they also like to keep it wary. It is not an ordinary bowling attack they're coming up against today. And you're playing against possibly the best death bowlers in Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj out there. And also at the same time, the best bowling attack through the middle overs. You've got the likes of Siraj, Bumrah, and Kuldeep Yadav, one of the big factors. Remember 2018 series where Kuldeep and Chahal spun a web around the South African team, making sure that they had nothing to answer at all for that. Let's look at some of the stats and the players to watch out for. I mean, let's just look at Virat Kohli, isn't it? Missed out on 100 by 12 runs last game. Not a lot of
Yeah,
players get the opportunity to score 100 on their birthday. Is it his day today? I mean, how good was he against Sri Lanka? I mean, until and unless that, I know the first spell when he came up against Shamira, he was put in all sorts of trouble. The ball was nipping around off the seam from the surface. He looked slightly jittery, but from there on, he looked flawless until that off cutter from Madhushanga gripped onto the surface and he chopped it straight into short cover.
yeah, very true. Because the stats you can see, these are some phenomenal stats that any batter can have in the World Cup, right? So these are some matrices that we have discussed earlier for our bowling players like Kuldeep and Jadeja and other players. So today we have come up with a new metric, especially for Kohli, because of his birthday and because of the game that we have. So as per the matrices that we have on the screen, you can see about the balls per boundary. So he tries to hit or he always get a boundary after 10 deliveries. That simply says that it's better to have that kind of value, because as a third batter in terms of position third batter, it's always better to have these stats, and these stats are the ideal stats that if any kind of one down batter can watch these stats, then will try to he'll try to get these stats in the future work, right? So in terms of real balls per boundary, that means he's taking a one ball extra as compared to all the one down player, which is the third position players, batting position third, one ball extra to hit a boundary, and that's a good thing because as a third number player, as a one down player, we don't need to be in a hurry, right? Because the role or the position he bats is all about the anchoring role, right? Especially for position third and position fourth. These two positions are mainly to anchor the innings. Like we have Rasi Venedusan, then we have Rachin Ravindra, right? Then we have Joe Root. So all these players are meant to bat at this position, right? Then in
Yeah.
terms of real activity rate, this says about the percentage of deliveries he is scoring in terms of singles and doubles, mainly in terms of strike rotation. So you can see it's plus 4%. That means if you compare all the number three batters in the World Cup, his strike rotation is 4% better as compared to all the third number batters. Again, for dots, it is 2% less, around 3% less dots. That means he plays or he tend to avoid 3% less dots as compared to other one down position batters in the World Cup so far. So these are the ideal kind of values that every one down player or every third batting position player should need to have in the whole kind of this World Cup tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's look at another metric as well when it comes to Virat Kohli is the way in which he's really been, a lot of things when we talk about it as the number of people who have scored 100 on a World Cup in ODI cricket. One of the first players which comes to our mind is Tom Latham, who scored 100 recently against Netherlands. Or when we talk about the Ross Taylor's 100 in the World Cup against Pakistan, he was dropped a couple of times, and that's the kind of luck you want in your birthday, right? Get dropped a couple of times and go on to score 100 as well. That was a magical 100 in Sri Lanka. I think it
Yeah.
was in Palikele, the 100 which he had scored against Pakistan, against a good Pakistan bowling attack, where he was dismantling Shoaib Akhtar and other lads. But let's just hope it is Virat. But we're not going to put any pressure. When we wanted the
Yeah.
71st 100, it just got into
Hmm.
us a lot more. So if Virat Kohli is scoring, he will score. Otherwise, let's just get that win. For us, the mission is the World Cup. And if India can get the World Cup, there's nothing like it at this point. So that's going to be the mission, as we always want to say. But let's just look into the undefeated streaks, right? Now, when we talk about undefeated streaks of some of the teams, New Zealand had a fantastic run in 2015. We all remember that until the final. So you don't want to have that kind of a streak. India had a great run into the 2003 as well. After losing to Australia first up, they had a great run till the final. But you'll all remember the 2003 Australian team, and always the connection goes into 2003 and 2007 Australian team, who had an undefeated World Cup run where they went on to win all 11 games and won the World Cup. And India would be hoping that from here on, it's 11 game streak which India has.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely true. Because it's kind of a dream run if you talk about that from the first game till the final, unbeaten in the whole tournament. It's kind of a dream run that any team can have. And if you look closely, I guess only two teams were able to do it in the whole span of the World Cup that we have, right? So you can
Yeah,
see how difficult it is to maintain the unbeaten streak from the first game till the final of the tournament, right?
yeah,
And now, to be honest, do you feel that any team can challenge India? We had some assumptions on England or Australia, some part on Pakistan or New Zealand, but after the game, we have seen that no one is close to us, right? After the results, after the end result.
yeah,
But yeah, again, and we haven't talked about uh, South Africa before the tournament that this game is going to be the ultimate game to watch
yeah,
after the tournament, right? So
yeah,
this is how the World Cup is going on so far, and that's how it goes. Today, it's all about the first 10 overs, which is the power play, because the power play will mainly it will set the stage for both the teams. If we get a
yeah,
couple of wickets in the power play, couple of wicket means at least Decock. If Decock is gone, then for sure it will be huge trouble for them. And we have seen
yeah,
against the same thing against Netherlands. I feel against Netherlands, Decock went early, right?
yeah.
And
You're right.
that's why they
Even against
like
Pakistan, he did go early.
yeah, so that's kind of a top order firepower that we need, and this is the kind of role Rohit Sharma is doing for us, right? Because due to his firepower above the order, the middle order is not able to get those runs because we don't need to do it, because we don't have the pressure to do it, because our top order is doing it, right? So this is how it goes. So I personally feel the first 10 overs will be a crucial to watch for both the teams. And yeah, for the unbeaten streak, it's very difficult to maintain those streak, but still we can do it because it is in India, right?
Yeah,
It's our home ground. So we do have the better chances to do it, right? Because
absolutely,
in the
absolutely.
semi-finals, if you look closely, I feel it's going to be New Zealand anyhow, right? So we always have that in our mind that it's New Zealand, India in the semi-final. Last time, what happened, we all know. So, to be honest, if you want to be on a safer side, then finish on top two so that you don't need to face New Zealand in the semi-finals.
So they didn't lose today's game.
Not today's game, maybe the
Lose
last
today's
game
season.
we can try other these things, other players to perform. We can give some rest to other
Interesting,
players.
interesting. You know, how you are having said that, do you see any change in today's match? Because for me, I think giving rest to one of your fast bowlers isn't a bad idea because you're seeing at this stage of in the tournament, like you saw Matt Henry getting ruled out, a lot of players having a niggle here and there. It's not a bad idea to give one of your fast bowlers a rest because they've already played 7 games, 7 high intensity games, and give them a rest and maybe get an Prasidh Krishna as you've already named him as replacement for Hardik Pandya. You can get an Prasidh Krishna and see how he goes.
Yeah, right. That can be possible, but we are all know that we don't want to take risk today because if we lose today, then we don't want to enter the knockouts from the losing momentum, right? Because we all know we will beat Netherlands quite easily, right? And that win won't be that much kind of valued as compared to today's win. Why? Because it's all about momentum, right? And if we lose today, then we don't want to enter the knockouts with the losing momentum, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
no change from my side in today's 11. Maybe we can change in the last game of the league stage. And I want to ask you one thing that is it how fair is it to replace Hardik with Prasidh? Because is it like to like replacement or how is it?
Yeah, for me, this shows two things, right? One, you don't have a all-rounder in the entirety of a country who even comes close to Hardik to have a like replacement. That's a clear-cut answer to that. Number two, you want to go into the same structure. So one thing is very clear: India will be going with the same structure of the team playing 11, which is have three seamers and two spinners till the end of the tournament. Because now, if you're going to see the venues you're going to be playing in, Eden Gardens, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Ahmedabad. So all these venues, you're not going to see any spin dominant surfaces. So you're going to maintain the structure of going in with three proper seamers and two spinners. Has worked well for us as well. Look at the last three games. It's one of the reasons why we've been able to restrict team to 70, 50 runs. And also remember, we did not have a backup seamer. We had Shardul Thakur, but we did not have a backup seamer. Imagine you have to give rest, as we were talking about giving rest to one of your main fast bowlers. You had, who do you turn to? You had to turn to a Shardul Thakur, who is not your maybe your 10 over bowler. He can have a bad day. He can maybe give you a 7, 6 overs, but not a 10 over spell. So that's why you had to go into a Prasidh Krishna. If you look at Prasidh Krishna, I think he's done good job. Whenever he's gotten the opportunity in the Australia third one day, or if you talk about Asia Cup, the one of the innings he bowled, I think he did a fair enough job, and you have to give him that. I mean, when since his return from injury, he's done well even in the Karnataka Premier League. So I think it's not a bad choice to go in with Prasidh Krishna, because if you're going to give one of your senior fast bowlers a rest, then you have to bring in your best bowler to replace him. The next best option is Prasidh Krishna, and as it also indicates that you had to go in with that particular mindset of maintaining the structure. But on an ideal world for me, if Deepak Chahar was completely fit and fine, I mean, I'm not sure about his fitness. I think he's fit and fine. If he had some game time before the World Cup, maybe India would have thought of bringing Deepak Chahar in ahead of a Prasidh Krishna because of two reasons. With Deepak Chair, you get an added batting option as well. He can bat anywhere in tops from 7 to 11. He can bat anywhere. And he is much more a reliable batter in comparison to Shardul Thakur. If you'd asked me before the start of the World Cup, I would have gone with Deepak Chair ahead of Shardul Thakur, because he's a better package than what you get with Shardul Thakur as well. But it wasn't to be. But yeah, Prasidh Krishna is not a bad option.
Yeah, very true.
Absolutely. I mean, let's just look at one of the other interesting stats as well from today's game. That is South Africa's halt and India's unbeaten run in the fight for top team. So if you look at the net run rate, obviously India are just behind South Africa at this point, but not so back. But at the same time, if you just look at the way in which how both teams have played, you reckon the law of average is going to catch up to one of them right now, or is it going to be in a very important stage like the knockouts?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can show the visual again, that is about the bowling point of view. Okay, this is about the real strike rates. That simply means that we are comparing all the teams' strike rate together for the power play only. That's why I said that the first 10 overs will be very crucial. So if you look carefully, South Africa is striking 21 balls less as compared to other teams. That means they pick a wicket in the power play 21 balls early as compared to other teams. Same goes with India. They pick a wicket early, 17 balls early as compared to other teams.
Yeah.
Right, and this also shows the downfall of New Zealand as well. You can see they are taking 15 balls extra, means around 3 overs, 2.5 overs extra to take a wicket in the power play, and this is the main reason why New Zealand is dipping right now at the end of the tournament. Right.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that simply shows us that how strong both teams are in the power play. From the bowling department, we cannot uh, rank India and South Africa using these stats because they are very close to each other. So it's going to be a very even contest in the power play. Let's see who will change these numbers today.
Yeah, absolutely. A captain, vice captain for today's fantasy team is what Peshkar Prasad has asked us. I think you can go in with if you look at the current bowling form, you can go in with Mohammad Shami as your vice captaincy picked in your fantasy team. Not a bad option. It can be a toss up between a Quinton de Kock or a Virat Kohli in captain pick as well. So Quinton de Kock, as I mentioned, his record against India is phenomenal, and his current form is great. Go in with that. And Rohit Sharma is not a bad option. Remember Eden Gardens and Rohit Sharma. Look at the ground; he's got a good record there. So Rohit Sharma is in your captaincy, vice captaincy option. So I'm giving you a few options. If you're going with South African bowling option, go in with a Marco Jansen, left arm pacer, just picked up a 5 wicket against India, Madhu Shankar, and his ability to pick up power play, as Sai was just explaining, Marco Jansen or Mohammad Shami. Or when it comes to batting picks in your captaincy, vice captaincy, I'll give you three options: Rassi van der Dussen, Quinton de Kock, Rohit Sharma, or Virat Kohli. Four options I'll give you. You can, so it's up upon you to pick it up. So just going with, if the obviously the common picks are going to be Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, then you're going to have your likes of Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah and Siraj. But if you want to take an X factor pick as your captaincy, vice captaincy pick, not a bad option to go in with someone like a KL Rahul as well. Just outside the box, or an Aiden Markram, because with Aiden Markram is another thing is that he's much more well-rounded when it comes to all-round ability. If he can chip in with the ball with a wicket here or there and score valuable runs, that's going to really elevate your fantasy list. So if you have to look at an X-factor pick, then a lot of people might be fascinated to see how Temba Bavuma performs. If you want to go absolutely left field, go in with Temba Bavuma. Let's see how he goes about it. I mean, when you're playing grand leagues, you have to really stay ahead of the others. So you have to have a left field pick. Maybe that's where Temba Bauma will come into play. And let's see how he goes. Yeah, talking about Temba Bauma, Sai, do you think the chances are running out for him pretty quickly?
Yeah, because currently we're at the end of the phase, right, in terms of league stage. So yes, because it is quite unfortunate for the, I guess it was Reza, right, who was replaced for him. It was very unfortunate for him. Same thing goes with Will Young again,
Yeah,
right? That these players have to suffer due to the other complications. That's fine because we are at the World Cup, so we don't want to change too many things. And we all know that if it is a long tournament, then we try to stay with the same 11, right? So I don't
yeah,
feel any problem as long as he's giving you the results, right? So the batting form can be treated afterwards also, because right now the main aim for all the teams is to win the World Cup, right? Even though
yeah,
your captain is performing or not performing, that will be discussed or that will be talked about afterwards after the World Cup. But yeah, he's giving
yeah.
you the results from the captaincy. He's changing the bowling options pretty well, so I don't feel any problem with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got an update from the toss is that India won the toss. India batting first. So it's the first major W for India just before the
Yeah,
match in itself. How big it is? I mean, batting first against South
yeah,
Africa really takes, one of the big weapon of South Africa out of their hand.
yeah. Absolutely, it is a very kind of almost 50% of the game, right? If we bat first, because we all know the batting first ability, and they, to be honest, they don't fare at all batting first. Some teams they do have fear batting first. For example, maybe Netherlands or Afghanistan, they
Yeah,
do have some fear batting first because
yeah,
their strength is the bowling unit. But for South
yeah,
Africa, again, we all know South Africa's major strength is always their bowling unit. But they are doing extremely well while batting first, and they always finish the game in the first innings. And we don't have to worry about second innings because we all know they will win by 100 runs or more than that in the second innings if
yeah,
they kind of set the tone in the first innings. So that's a big
absolutely.
weapon and kind of almost 50% of the game that we have right now. Now it's only the only thing is about the recent visual that we have seen about the power play stats for both the teams.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we try to concede only one, not more than one wicket, because we all know they will get at least a wicket in the power play, but not more than one. If we try to
absolutely.
avoid more than one wicket, then it's a win situation for us.
What do you think would be an ideal score? If you look at that Pakistan versus Bangladesh game, which was played in Eden Gardens, you saw chasing was so easy for Pakistan there. Fakhar Zaman really came out batting well, and you saw some bit of reverse swing as well towards the end of the first innings. And you again, and also with a little bit of rain around here and there in Kolkata, batting first. How do you think that is a you know pragmatic way of looking at it? Do you think it's a pragmatic approach, or India could have been much more different in terms of the thoughts saying, okay, we can back ourselves to chase, put ourselves under pressure against what is South Africa's strength?
Yeah, absolutely, that's fine because it's from the Indian point of view also. If you look for Indian point of view, we always chase the target, right? And we defended very few amount of times. the total. So again, it
Yeah.
will be a good practice for our bowlers to defend the total, because we know that we are capable enough to chase down the total. And in the knockouts, we don't know what is going to happen, right? So it's better to practice defending the total in the league stage itself. Also, we had the chance today, so it's better to defend, because we haven't defended a lot amount of times in the World Cup. So it's
Yeah.
better choice for India.
Absolutely. And there's also another thing that you don't want to put your ballers under these conditions first up. It can be very muggy in Eden Gardens. If you've seen the games there, it is humid, it is hot, and you don't want your ballers to really stress out in these hot conditions. Rather, you want to go into the conditions much more fit and fine and make sure that your ballers get better of the conditions under lights to ball under. So that could be one of the reasons why India would have really opted to bat first as well. And especially when you're in the business end of the tournament, one factor which you always keep behind your head is how do you really keep your ball as fit and fine before the World Cup knockouts? And I think that would have been Rohit Sharma's mind. But yeah, Sai, if you have to choose one player to watch out for today, who is it going to be?
For my side, it will be Makram, because they will be chasing the total, right. So in terms of chasing, Makram has the ability to pace the innings and to play the anchor role also from the South African point of view. For the Indian point of view, it will be I feel Shami, because the form he have from the last 3 games, right? Fifer and a 4 wicket haul, again a fifer. So we can expect the trend to go on another 4 wicket haul or a fifer in today's game also.
Wow, if he gets another fifer, that'll be something. And it's just gonna be supreme Shami, isn't it? He's just on a roll at this point. Gave him the ball, and the ball does everything off the wicket, and people have no idea because that same presentation which he has is possibly the best in the world, and that's one of the reasons why some of the Pakistani analysts had to come and talk about Indians using different balls as well. So that's how good he has been. That it has made even some of the cricketers think, are India cheating by using the ball? So ridiculous statement there. I think the Pakistani media in itself had a reply in Wasim Akram saying that whatever he's having, please do give it to me as well. It sounds like fun. So that was a reply which Wasim Akram gave. But nonetheless, that's about it from us. Thank you, Sai, for joining. So the news is that India are unchanged. India batting first in Kolkata. So we might get to see something very interesting, some big scores from Indian batters. Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli. Hopefully, a Virat Kohli 100 on his birthday. Or nonetheless, if at all anybody performing would be great for me. I want to say Shubman Gill 100, missed out by 8 runs. That hopefully can make up for it. Because last game we had 300 from the Beckham, missed out all three of them. So hopefully today is a different kind of a day. And thank you, Sai, once again. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also share this video with as many people as possible. If you're new here, click on the like button because that really helps us with that algorithms to reach out with as many people as possible. And also share this video. And also check out our courses with Mad About Sports if you're new here. If you're an analyst who want to set a footing into the world of analytics and numbers, as I would say, it's a very interesting field. It's a field which you can really explore a lot more and follow your passion of talking about cricket or working with your favorite cricket team as well. Thank you and have a good time, all of you. Bye bye.